Well, welcome to my cellar. Been a hell of a week, hasn't it? Strange and interesting times we're living in. I'm not at all surprised, given all the crap that's going on, that I only got a couple, 3 comments on the last one, and I don't expect I'll probably get any more on this one. But that's okay, because we got more shit to worry about than watching my my little vlog, I guess it's called. I don't know. I'm going to be on another podcast on the 11th. I'll let you know. I don't remember which one it is. No disrespect intended to the podcast. I'm going to be on several over the next couple, 3 months. So I guess some of them are so popular they're booking in advance. To my friends at Vape, is it a sign of batteries going bad when it always tastes harsh? Like it's burned or scorched? Like you've got an element wearing out? Because I've got a dearly beloved vape that is doing that. It just always tastes nasty. And the rest of them using the same juice don't. So if anybody can fill me in on that, I'd appreciate it. Okay, Shelter. All right, I'm gonna read this one. It jumps around a little bit, so bear with me here. Shelter, Tim. COVID-19 is crazy. Okay, here's the question. Some games use one platonic solid, a D20, D6, etc. How do you feel about games that just use one die rather than all of the established D20 games like Mutants and Masterminds use just D20, GURPS use just D6? Is there a real risk of limiting a system with one die, or can a well-done system do it well versus incorporating more dice? Interesting question, and there's no simple answer. I can tell you why Gary went to the dice he went to. It is possible to generate percentages with just 6-siders. Mike Carr, when he was still in high school, designed Fight in the Skies, which was known then. Now it's Dawn Patrol. And he had percentages all figured out with 6-siders, so it can be done. But Gary told me, as he was explaining it, when I first got to know him in that he wanted more flexibility, more of a range. And as a matter of fact, those of you that are familiar with original or brown box, or some people call it white box, that's because we ran out of brown ones. When it first came out, all weapons did D6, mainly because they didn't get the weapons damage charts done, and there were space restrictions in the books, and so that's why it came out in Greyhawk, because several pages, and it gave, again, more variety. The old war games that us old farts grew up on and cut our teeth on all used D6s, and that meant that even with 2 of them, you had a really limited range of results. So many of the old games used a single 6-sider with a CRT, combat results table. You figured the odds, how many offensive points you had versus how many defensive points they had. And you figured a ratio 3-to-1, 3-to-2, 2-to-1, and you rolled a 6-sider and you got your results. Yeah, that got stale real fast. And so I can understand Gary wanting to getting more variety, more flash, more dazzle. Can you design a good game with only one type? Certainly. It can be done, because what kind of numbers generators or what kind of element of chance you're going to enter introduce into your game has to be part of the design process. Now, as you're going along, as happened with Gary, and you come up with a better system, well, darn, a little too late. Well, you bring it out later. But when you're doing a one-shot, there's no reason you can't run the whole game with a 20 or a 12 or an 8. It's just, if you choose to use a single 8, then your results are going to be skewed around 12.5%. Okay, that's what you're going to increment. If you use a 12, you're going to 8. Okay, you see where I'm going here. It's just limiting it's just defining, the die you choose defines your range of possible results. Or at least begins to define your range of possible results. It may then take you to another table, to another table, to another roll. I'm not going there. So certainly it could be done. No reason it can't be. Okay. Is the Beholder D&D's most iconic monster? Yes and no. For a game that has the word dragon in its name, and now has the name recognition that it has, the average person who doesn't game, or who has a niece or a nephew or something, or listened to some friends talk about it one night, when he sees a picture of a dragon, that's more likely to trigger that memory or that association. If that guy that doesn't know anything about it sees a picture of a beholder, he's just going to see some really weird floating thing with eye stalks. Could be Lovecraft. It could be any number of things. So, to a game player, absolutely, everybody who's ever RPG'd knows what a beholder is, or when they see that bowel loosening silhouette drifting towards them, they certainly would that would be the iconic monster for people that are the consigliente, the ones that are in the know. But as far as the general public, no. I like to think that people look at a picture of a dragon, and if they ever heard of it, then that's what they're saying. Oh, dungeon, dragon. Oh, yeah, okay. But, that's partly observation and partly wishful thinking on my part. Okay, now this is a person that wanted a rant. So I'm going to read his rant. I'm going to need glasses because it's a long one. Okay, I'm willing to bet one of my kidneys that the guy who's complaining about China virus has no problem with Spanish flu or the German measles. They may choose to argue against my statement, saying that those terms are from the past, so they're okay. But there are a lot of words and events from the past that people like this actively work against, none of which include the aforementioned names. They're also probably the kind of person who gets bent out of shape about me, an Italian, wearing a sombrero for Halloween. Oh, yeah, they call that cultural appropriation. Oh. But would have no problem with me dancing around like a drunken leprechaun during St. Patrick's Day. These people are the actual racists. It's just that they hate themselves and their own ethnic group rather than others. Rant off. Well, having a large chunk of my genetics originating in the Emerald Isle, I find the dancing around like a drunken leprechaun on St. Patrick's Day a very apt image. Yeah, this cultural appropriation stuff that's going on. They got all over some high fashion lady dress designer because her stuff looked, it was very heavily influenced by Chinese couture. And they said that was cultural appropriation. Well, where does that thing end? Anyway, that's a little off topic. Yeah, there are words from the past that we don't use today. They were okay then and certainly aren't now. It's going to take a huge mindset change to change German measles, because all the textbooks, all the history books, whatever. Okay, it's COVID-19. Get over it. Okay, the last question. How about running an online D&D game? Well, I want to tell you about GaryCon last weekend. There were over 600 virtual events run over the course of the 4 days. I'm very pleased to say that I was involved with 4 of them. It worked. It was sloppy at first. Discord doesn't do video. A Discord server doesn't work. I tried something else, and I tried Skyping, and it was. But I got a hold eventually. After I Skyped 3 games, I got a hold of Zoom just recently. More about that in a minute. What happened at GaryCon with GaryCon to GaryCon is nothing short of amazing. With apologies to EtherCon, who I have participated with twice, this is the best, most amazing online convention imaginable. Just unbelievable. People were using multiple platforms, getting a hold of their players and saying, okay, we're going to be here, we're going to be there. I was doing that. At first I had it in one server, then I had it in another server. But the point is, we were able to do it. I had 2 games with 5 and a game with 7. One of the games with 5, I didn't know until afterwards. Diego, who was in my upper left corner, was playing from Chile. Wow, mind blown. Look what the internet's doing. Go on Steam. Find a cheap game to play against the computer, then find a few friends to play with and play online. I have discovered that, yes, my theater of the mind style of play, I use no figures. I don't use dry erase markers and draw pictures or anything, will absolutely work with just a teeny bit of modification online. I'm gonna two of the batches of well, I got to see all the great grands today, and even though they were hi and then wandering off and that, it was just great to see them. I'm going to run a couple dry runs for some of my friends. And then I'm going to set up a new email address with Gmail that I'll use exclusively for this endeavor. And I'm going to dip my toes in pay to play. Now, if I get 6 or 7 players in each game, the game will last at least 2 3/4 hours, and it could last 3.5. Now, I don't remember when the last time was I saw a movie that ran 3.5 hours. Of course, it had an intermission in the middle. So the only thing that's holding me up right now is trying to figure out what would be a reasonable fee to do this. My expenses are simply renting buying the license to use Zoom. And I wouldn't mind making a little extra money. So I understand there's a thing on Facebook where we can send money to each other and they don't take a cut or anything. So I'll set that up. In the meantime, I've floated a few numbers by a few people, and at first, I guess I was underestimating. So I'm going to let the market, and whoever else gets wind of this, to tell me what they think, because mine is purely theater of the mind. Other than a very brief period where the players have to show me something, the other players, one at a time, the other players merely avert their eyes. Dice rolling is on the honor system, obviously, because I'm not going to clutter up the game with an electronic dice roller. If you're going to cheat yourself, I don't care. Simple as that. I just don't care. I think we can do it. I did it on a poor platform. I think I can do it much better on a better platform. I didn't like Skype because I could only see 4 faces large. Everybody else was a little round button icon across the top. Where this, I can have up to 100 people. Now, those are going to be postage stamp sites or smaller, but with 6 or 7, we won't clog the bandwidth. We'll have clear pictures of all of the players, and I think that it'll work well. Everything I do is descriptive. Why not? Time to join the 21st century, and if I can finally prove to the woman who's put up with me for 50 years that I can make some money doing this stuff from the basement, well, I think I'll have a very happy wife. And let's see, what else do we have? I'm on day 23 of social distancing, and I don't know how many of those were shelter in place. That's something that the state did. Health is good so far. Only been out 3 times in the last 23 days. Been out of the house 3 times for groceries each time. And this time we loaded up in case we don't go out again for a while. Of course, it may get a little weird with no milk and bread, but I can't drink. I'm not supposed to drink the milk anyway. I encourage you to reach out to all your gamer friends as well as your family during this period of time, and look at ways to play online with each other. We're still gamers. We may all be locked in our little cell in the honeycomb, but that doesn't mean we can't run a wire from cell to cell. I don't know where that came from, but must sounded like a good idea at the time. I'm babbling. Again, I understand if there's not a lot of responses, not a lot of comments on this. I hope I get some comments and questions, or else I'll just have to babble again like I did tonight. So that's a thought. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. Stay in touch with all your loved ones. Do the sneeze in your sleeve and wash your hands and don't touch your face. We're all in this boat together. And if we all bail together when we're supposed to and row together when we're supposed to, we will get to shore. Dodata Govi. Oh, hello. I'm still figuring out when this thing starts. Welcome to my cellar.
He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs. Still quite a feller, a curmudgeon in the cellar.
Last man around when them rates went down.
calling Gary in that Lake Geneva town. Hey Gary, it's an awful mess. Let me edit, we'll have success. D&D and Dragon Magazine. He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Magic missile, it's a mortar shell. Make it hit in the first level spell. Brought psionics to the game to attack that wizard's brain. ESR and fantasy, collection of micro armory. Titan with tramp under a tree, high as could be. He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Curmudgeon.